What up, y'all? It's your boy Infamous, bring commentary, bro. Welcome back. Alright, I know that y'all been, hearing about, the whole Trey Reed situation. Alright, a little context for, who Trey Reed is and what's the whole situation. Almost, 3 days ago, a black college student by the name of Trey Reed, 21 years old, black, was found hanging from a tree early that morning, somewhere around 7 a.m. or so, and pretty much, it had the whole internet in an uproar because a black man was hanged in public. You can't tell me that that could not be a freaking coincidence, man. Around the exact same time Charlie Kirk just got, killed and stuff, and everyone in the country is grieving him so much. And this happened, a couple days after, almost a week after Charlie Kirk got killed. There's no way. There's no way. Anywho, guys, I'm gonna play some clips from TikTok and pretty much, get my own, 2 cents on the whole situation. Like, share, and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check me out, view and art. The links to everything is down below. And guys, if you want to get my videos, before they ever hit YouTube, head over to my Patreon page. The link is in the description down below.
When are you all going to get it? They're not self-unalivings. They're hate crimes. Travion Reed, also known as Trey, a brilliant and bright student at Delta University in Grenada, Mississippi, was recently found hanging from a tree on the university's campus. There are reports that Trey was covered in bruises and had 2 broken legs, so they expect us to believe that with 2 broken legs, Trey hobbled over and hoisted himself up in the tree. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, and Trey Reed were unalived by hate crimes. And when there's people writing songs like this, Trey Reed's family is going to need all of our support and all of our voices. Y'all know what to do. We need justice for Trey Reed.
Yesterday, we found Travion Reed and Corey Zucaitis found lynched in Mississippi. And there's no doubt in my mind that's what happened to them. They were lynched. And you go, wow, the right are becoming emboldened to do things they haven't done in decades. Well, it turns out the lynchings in Mississippi never stopped. Officially, lynching stopped in 1981. That's the last reported one. But between 2000 and 2021, when this article was written, there had been at least 8 suspected lynchings of black men in Mississippi. I said, the thing is, the lynchings never stopped in the United States. Lynchings in Mississippi never stopped. The evil bastards just stopped taking photographs and passing them around like baseball cards. In the cases of Travion Reed and Corey Zucaitis yesterday, both were found hanging from trees. The cops ruled them suicide and found no evidence of foul play. Well, guess what? There's a pattern to how these cases are investigated. When authorities arrive on the scene of a hanging, it's treated as a suicide almost immediately. The crime scene is not preserved, the investigation is shoddy, and then there is a formal ruling of suicide, despite evidence to the contrary, and the case is never heard from again unless someone brings it up. Reed's cousin saw the body and saw there was indication of bruising and broken bones, that he was lynched. But like in these cases, the cops ruled it a suicide. On June 16, 2000, Raynard Johnson was found hanging from his pecan tree in his front yard in Kokomo, Mississippi. On January 9, 2003, Nick Naylor was found hanging from a tree about 11 miles from his house in Porterville, Mississippi. Roy Veal on April 22, 2004, found hanging from a pecan tree near Woodville. Get the point? No one is going outside and hanging themselves in a tree in Mississippi. Only. These are lynchings. And the cops are complicit. The judges are complicit. Mississippi has a white people problem. Apparently, there's been 6 so far this year in Mississippi. So it has increased in speed since Trump came into office. There's no denying that. But this has never gone away in Mississippi. It's just how they do things there. Wow, fuck Mississippi.
The lynching of Travion Trey Reed. Let's talk about it. According to the Equal Justice Initiative, terror lynchings are a subset of lynchings, and those are these horrific racial crimes against black people that didn't ultimately result in the prosecution or finding of the perpetrator. Between 1877 and 1950, there were more than 4,084 lynchings across 12 southern states. Lynching is a sort of homegrown domestic terrorism, and if you don't agree with me, go fight with a wall, right? The goal of this sort of lynching terrorist kind of plot is to make black people be afraid of being out in the world, right? To make their environment one of fear, which then causes racial subordination. It causes subjugation. It causes you to become small because you're so afraid of the racial terror. In this environment of fear, the choices are be subservient, be acquiescent, do exactly what we say, and maybe you'll be safe. But if you don't, we will seriously harm or unalive you. This program of terror lynchings was also a sort of whitelash, right? It was a backlash against Black power, Black success, the ways in which Black people have continuously, despite decades and centuries of subjugation, come together, form successful unions, and plot a path forward, right? This is a specific backlash against the progress of Black people. So last week, as much of this country mourned the passing of a person who had such vile remarks to say about marginalized people, that too was a type of whitelash. It was a movement against what people don't like to see, which is to see the success of marginalized people. This whitelash is against all of those marginalized people who felt like really equivocal about the passing of Charlie Kirk. Last week was a whitelash against those who celebrated his passing, against leftists and progressives. Last week was a whitelash against HBCUs, whose campuses across the country had to close down and lock down because of all of these threats against them. Yesterday, the body of 21-year-old Trey Reed, a Black man, was found hanging from a tree. According to his family, both of his arms were broken and one of his legs were broken. But the police have decidedly ruled that it was a suicide, that there was no foul play. So today, while his family and friends and the Black community and marginalized communities protest for justice, call on the police to do an additional investigation, what we have here is a sort of whitelash, right? This appears to be a lynching in the long tradition of terror lynchings in the United States. And it's interesting that it comes at this time as much of this country is pushing back against all of the progress we've made. Trey Reed is now dead, and the Mississippi Delta is beset with terror. They're operating under this fear, right? The same sort of fear that was engendered by the racial program of lynching in the southern United States. And so I would tell you that this is textbook. This is textbook America. This is America.
In my first video about Trey Reed, I asked about the camera footage. Well, it looks like we got an update, y'all. So authorities have confirmed that there are videos connected to his death at Delta State University. The investigators have them, however, and won't say if the footage shows what actually happened. Now, the coroner's early report says that there's no sign of assault, but, we've all seen that narrative before. Now, Congressman Benny Thompson is calling for a federal investigation, and the family just brought in attorney Ben Crump. Did you also know that Trey's parents didn't even find out about his death until after the media did and reported it? Imagine your child being gone and the news breaks about it before you get the call. That's not just painful, that's disrespectful. And on top of that, I read that when they did tell them, they told him that he was found dead in his dorm, in his bed. Now, how'd that look? That alone tells us how Black families are too often treated as an afterthought in tragedies that devastate them the most. And on top of that, the officials are drip feeding information about videos, but refusing to say what's actually on them. Families shouldn't have to fight this hard for transparency while grieving. And knowing Mississippi's history of lynchings and racial terror, you can't separate Trey's death from that context. Every isolated incident claim carries the shadow of a long, bloody history that America still hasn't fully confronted. The Reed family deserves dignity, respect, and real answers. We have to keep Trey's name alive, amplify his story, and push for that independent investigation. Silence is what allows cases like this to disappear. Because, if there's video, then why the cryptic response? Stop playing word games. The family deserves clarity, not riddles. Trey Reed was more than a headline. His life carried promise, love, and purpose. So may his family be surrounded with strength in this time. And may the truth come forward. Because justice isn't just about facts. It's about honoring humanity.
When I heard about the whole Trey Reed situation, I really thought things could not possibly get any worse. But things have actually gotten worse, man. When I heard about, what happened with Charlie Kirk and the HBCUs, okay, in case you got, I know it's been a couple days and some of y'all already know already, but in case you're for the ones that don't know, ever since Charlie Kirk got killed, he pretty much HBCUs have been, ready to be, shot up or be destroyed or something. So they pretty much have to, cancel, classes or shut down school entirely. All because of Charlie Kirk and the guy who killed him. Keep in mind, the dude who killed Charlie Kirk, he wasn't no liberal, he wasn't no Democrat, he wasn't even no black man, Latino, Asian, none of that, man. And black people are being blamed for this. The HBCUs are getting blamed for this. It makes no sense because there were like literally almost little to no black people during that whole Charlie Kirk situation. There was not like one black person in the whole audience. You cannot tell me like at this point like what happened to Trey Reed was no. You cannot tell me as a black man that that's just a pure coincidence, just a pure suicide. That is bullcrap, man. And bro, no black person would ever, even if they were feeling suicidal, even if I was feeling suicidal as a black man. I would never ever dare hang myself on a tree in a public place where everyone could see me. That's just insane. No one would ever do that ever in the black community. Never. And no, don't you find that a little convenient that like what happened with Trey Reed? Just happened like a couple days after the HBCU's been threatened and after Charlie Kirk got killed? And keep in mind, recently we just buried Charlie Kirk. Something's up. Okay, someone's behind this. I mean, okay, let's be honest, man. We already know who's behind this. 9 times out of 10, it's those, like, extreme right-wing lunatics who pretty much want to, like, ethnically cleanse the whole country and try to turn into, like, some white Christian nation and start another stupid race war. I feel like it's my duty to speak about this as a black man. Because if one black person gets hurt, one black person gets killed right now, at this point, it's pretty much a sign that we should all be careful out there, man. Because you never know. The other strange thing that happened, like, during the whole Trey Reed scenario is that another guy was hanged on the exact same day. His name was like Corey Zacchaeus. He's 30 something years old. He was homeless and he was found dead like at least like a couple miles away from like where Trey Reed was being killed. Something tells me that bro, you can't convince me that two people died the exact same way on the exact same day. That quick and that fast? No. No. That ain't no coincidence. I think that Corey Zacchaeus possibly, like, overheard the people who killed Trey Reed and probably got found out by them. He probably did try to run and try to escape, but he got caught and, well, we know what happened next. It's just a shame, man. Like, seriously, it's 20 freaking 5. And yet we have to, like, still worry about lynching these days? Bro, no. The family managed to get, like, Ben Crump on like the whole case. Ben Crump is like this lawyer. I forgot what he was famous for, but all I know is like he's a black lawyer who's pretty much like taking up the case. In case you guys don't remember, there was this dude named Colin Kaepernick, and like a couple years ago he did like kind of like took a knee while like like not the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean the Star Spangled Banner song was going down on the NFL game. Pretty much he was like protesting that black players should not even like listen to like the whole national anthem at all. He said he's like gonna like provide like start funding like a private autopsy to like get to the whole bottom of this. Colin Kaepernick, bro, he a real one, man. He a real one. And all that from like what like the family said about like when they found out about the news, they didn't find out until like it was like on TikTok and stuff, bro. And people like the police and stuff, they've been like trying to like sweep this under the rug, saying that like he did it in his dorm room. While a bunch of people saw this whole thing happening on campus. Again, bro, this is a straight up cover up. But let's be honest, man. This is the United States of America. And knowing that, this is freaking Mississippi, man. Mississippi, bro. Okay, in case you guys don't, like, remember that much about the Civil Rights era, like, most, like, of the major battles about civil rights that happened during that time happened mostly in Mississippi, man. And again, the fact that it's the Deep South, man. And in the Deep South, bro, if you're a black, bro, there's a thing called sundown towns. Basically, where if you were a black person and if you're in that town while the sun is going down or it's like gets dark, you're not gonna make it home alive, man. Like they could literally kill you, and there won't be that much of an investigation over there. I remember like the story a couple months ago, like a truck driver in North Carolina, he got hanged, and the police have been like trying to like rule it out as a suicide. Bro, we know that's not really the case. That's not really what happened. To my blood brothers and sisters, man, stay strong, be strong, and don't let this whole incident, do not let any incidents whatsoever encourage you guys to be out there in the streets like in large numbers. We understand, we know. The moment we protest out there in large numbers, it pretty much gives the police, the government, or any again, like all these other racial hate groups and all that stuff, it gives them the excuse to brutalize us and to like destroy us. Do not ever give them that chance. We know their tricks and we know their games too well and too good. We're not gonna fall for them. They try to break us, but they will never break us. We're too strong, we're too tough, and every time they try to break us, they end up getting broken. Again, I feel like this is my duty to say this as a black man, because again, this could happen to me, my friends, my family, people I know and care about, man. Even though my platform is small, I feel obligated. I feel like it's my duty to say something. For centuries, for decades, they've been trying to like break our spirits, try to break our freedom. But that will never happen. That will never happen. I refuse to let that happen. Look, I know that this is not typically my stuff. Like, this is not typically what I do on my channel. But again, hearing the whole Trey Reed story, I just gotta speak up, man. I just have to. And I know like, me possibly speaking out against this whole thing might possibly get me, like, possibly, like, banned off YouTube or something. But I say, hey, I'm standing on the side with justice here. And I'm trying to do the right thing. So if I gotta be punished for doing something good, so be it. And to my blood brothers and sisters watching this video right now, again, we cannot afford to go out there and protest. They've been trying to like get us to like go out and protest, so that way they can clear martial law and pretty much like, I know the country is pretty much screwed up already, but if we go out there in large numbers, we could make things worse. So it's for the best that we stay out of this. We do not protest out in the street. We do not march at all. You're giving them more bullets for them to shoot at us right now. I know it's hard not to like want to march and protest right now. Trust me, it was hard for me not to want to march and protest at this point. But we gotta keep our head cool. We can't let them break us. Again, shout out to Colin Kaepernick. Bro, thank you, man. Thank you, man. Bro, he a real one. He a real one for that, man. And to all the family members of Trey Reed, his close friends, I'm sorry for your loss, man. He did not deserve to go out like this. And neither did Corey Cicadas. He didn't deserve this either. But I know in the end, the good guys always win and justice will win. We will get justice for what happened with Trey Reed. We're not gonna let this slide. Nobody should ever let this slide. Alright, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check me out if you're not. The links to everything is down below. And guys, if you wanna get my videos, like, before, like, they, like, go on YouTube and stuff, head over to my Patreon page. The link's in the description. MC Boy, out.